Planet Earth, home to over 6 billion people, all of whom have only one question on their minds. What's for dinner?
This is the big world of food. I'm your host, Chef John Veronese.
What's biodynamic farming?
What?
What is biodynamic farming?
I have no idea.
What is biodynamic farming?
Biodynamic farming. I didn't take biology in high school.
Today on the big world of food, we're here at Fox Hollow Farms to discuss local produce and the importance of biodynamic farming. Let's check it out.
Biodynamic farming.
All right, we're here with Janie Newton here from Fox Hollow Farms. Hi, Janie. Thank you for being with us this afternoon.
Well, it's great to be here.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful farm here, and I understand that you're looking for a biodynamic certification. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
All right. Well, my understanding of biodynamics is you're taking into account the whole picture, which means you know what's going on in the soil, you know that the moon and the planets and even the zodiac influence this one little plant. So it's an understanding of the whole environment that influences the plant, and then everything else comes from that understanding.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about Fox Hollow Farms? I understand this is a family property and that you've taken over the past couple of years and have some visions for that. Why don't you tell us a little bit about those visions you have for the farm?
Well, this farm has been in our family for about 70 years. And it's had many lives, but it was conventionally farmed for 35 years. And we had leased it out, the land out to a farmer. And as we became more aware of what that really means to put chemicals in the earth, then we realized we needed to change that. So 4 years ago, my brother and sister and I had the opportunity to become full stewards of this land. And it took us 5 minutes to decide to...
Something we really felt like
yeah.
we needed to do.
Yeah, we were ready. So we had a 5-minute family meeting and said, okay, no more chemicals, we're going biodynamic. And the reason we made such a quick decision is that all three of us have been studying the works of Rudolf Steiner, who is, I would call the father, the inventor, the starter of biodynamic farming.
Rudolf Steiner, an Austrian philosopher, believed that the introduction of chemical farming was very detrimental. This was the origin of biodynamic agriculture, which is now practiced throughout much of Europe, North America, and Australasia.
So, there we went. And we hired consultants to come in to tell us what to do, or at least to make suggestions. We could make the decision. And every consultant said the same thing. You need animals on this land to heal it. So we went out and got a grass-fed beef herd that we are still working with, and that was our first step, get animals on the land. We do follow all the organic standards, but on top of that, as I said, to understand the effect that the whole cosmos has on one single plant, like one single carrot. And so this knowledge shows you when is the best time to seed the carrot, when is the best time to water the carrot, when is the best time to pick the carrot. So if you plant a root vegetable on a day where most of the planets are influencing the soil that actually encourage root growth, then you're going to have the best root vegetable that you can have. So there are certain days on the calendar, and there is actually a biodynamic calendar. It's a little bit like the Farmer's Almanac. People used to plant knowing where the moon was, knowing what the sun was doing. But the other thing that we need to pay attention to is the air around the plant and the soil. Steiner designed or worked with these sprays that are all plant-based sprays that encourage different developmental stages of the plant. And there's one that actually helps the plant balance out the amount of water that it takes in. You use the equisetum or the horsetail plant.
The horsetail plant, or Equistum hyemale, is a very primitive perennial plant with dark green hollow, jointed with stems of no true leaves found mostly in wet areas. The horsetail plant is native to North America and Eurasia.
And it allowed these plants to negotiate all this watery soil, and so we did not get the blight, the tomato blight. One of our gardens was sprayed and one wasn't. The one that was sprayed made it through the season without the blight. The one that wasn't did not make it through the season.
Makes you a believer once you start seeing all this stuff taking effect and the benefits. I understand there's some other kind of fascinating things that I've read about with using cow horns.
Yes,
they use in the cow horn.
Right. So that, the cow horn is used to make the spray that helps the root growth. So this is how we make it. All right, so we've taken this beautiful humus that we've created in the horn manure, and then we put it in water, a huge vat, because we're going to do great expanses of fields. And then what we're going to do is we're turning and turning and to create this vortex form, and then for about 1 minute, and then you turn the other way and create a chaos. And what that's doing is energizing this potion here, and it's aerating it, it's energizing it, so that once it gets on the field, it even has more vital forces.
Kind of almost like you do with wine, you're aerating it to bring out more of its flavor, and we're kind of enhancing this batch here to do the job better in the fields.
Yeah, enhancing its life force. So
and this way we naturally take care of all those little critters out there that we don't want nibbling on our plants.
Right, so it goes chaos, form for a solid hour, and then we'll be ready to spray it.
Amazing.
I know.
Well, I guess this is your laboratory over here where you create all the concoctions to spread all over the fields to make the beautiful vegetables.
And we talked about that horn manure, right? We talked about putting fresh manure into a horn.
So you take these horns here and you pack them with the fresh manure.
Pack them with the fresh manure, then bury that horn for 6 months during the winter, right? And when we dig those up in the early spring, what happens is this beautiful earth.
Wow, that looks like fine little peat moss.
Oh, yeah. And smell it. There is no manure smell left. It smells just like a
it smells like rich dirt.
Rich earth.
And this is what we saw mixing in that big drum out there that was aerating.
Exactly. And you only need 1/4 cup in a gallon of water to spray over an acre of land.
Wow. That's very little.
Right. So we're really talking almost like homeopathic medicine for the earth.
Homeopathic medicine is a natural pharmaceutical science that uses various plants, minerals, and animals in a very small dose to stimulate the sick plant's natural defenses.
You said there's live organisms in here too. There's a special way that you pack all this in here.
Well, we want to keep this as alive as possible, just like if you had a yogurt culture or sourdough bread. You want to put it into the best environment so that the vitality and the energy is kept. And so they're put in crocks, and then there's peat moss around the crocks, protected from any electricity or any other radiation that might be in the environment. And so it can stay like that for, 4 or 5 years and still be very alive. Another preparation is called barrel compost, and essentially this has all kinds of plants in it. It has chamomile, it has dandelion and valerian. So it really is a combination of all these herbal plants we have on the farm, and just feel the softness of that. What's this one
used for here?
So this one is used again to encourage the life force of the plant and also to help that plant raise itself up. Doesn't that feel wonderful? Silky, it's almost silky. So we do have our own
so there's a certain treatment that you use for every stage of the plant's life, from seed to sprout to growth to root maturation.
Yes. Yeah, it's amazing.
Very interesting. Here we are today at Sullivan University with Julian Hemmer, baking and pastry student.
Hi.
How are you doing this afternoon?
Great, how are you?
So where are you from, Julian?
I'm from Holland, Indiana.
All right. So what made you choose Sullivan University?
I tried a traditional college and it just wasn't for me. I surfed the internet a lot and found Sullivan, and it's very close. It's just about an hour and a half from my parents' house, so I can make trips home whenever I like, and I love Sullivan, so.
Excellent. So what got you in the baking and pastries?
I actually had a summer job at a bakery, and it was the best job I've ever had. I loved going to work. I loved doing what I was doing, and when I didn't like traditional college and taking business classes, I decided to go for baking.
What do you enjoy the most about Sullivan?
Oh, I love all the people. I know all of my chefs as a very closely. I could probably consider them my friends. If I ever have a problem, they're right there. I can just go and ask them, and they'll tell me straight up. Yes, this works. No, this doesn't work. They're honest, and that's what I love.
That's very important, building that relationship, and it
Absolutely.
makes it easier for you to learn and help continue in your program. What do you think that you're going to learn the most from Sullivan that's going to help you in your career?
Every little skill that we possibly need. We can go through bread, cakes, decorating, just everything you need to know about baking. We're learning, and we're starting with little skills, and we'll just build and build and build.
What's the most interesting thing that you've done in your program so far?
Actually, we've been working on plated desserts the last couple of weeks, and I've actually just finished a baked Alaska. And it is a chiffon cake with ice cream in the middle with a meringue top. And it is the most delicious dessert I've ever had.
Didn't think you could bake ice cream before,
No,
did you?
I didn't. I was like, we're putting this in the oven, but it's very tasty.
Excellent. So where are you in your pastry program?
I'm finishing my baking 1 quarter, and then in a couple of weeks I'll go on to baking 2.
All right. Always exciting to learn something different,
It is.
isn't
It is.
What are you going to do when you graduate from Sullivan?
I hope to go on a cruise ship, stay on that for maybe a year or 2, and then try to settle down a little.
Somebody wants to travel the world.
Yeah.
What are you going to do when you're done with that? What's the big picture here? Why?
One day I'd like to own my own sweet shop.
All right.
Yeah.
Making your own confections. And,
Making my own desserts, everything.
well, it's a lot of hard work, I know
Yeah,
myself.
I know.
So. Well, excellent, and good luck in your future, Jillian.
Thank you.
Well, that was Jillian Hemmer, Sullivan University, and future pastry chef.
Interested in a career in hospitality? Give us a call at 502-456-6505 or check us out at sullivan.edu.
With 30 years experience in the industry, I've seen the evolution of the point-of-sale system, from the early days of the handwritten checks to now the amazing Aloha system. Here at Veronese, we chose Aloha, first of all, for its exceptional service, but also its ease of use. We can split checks, even individual items. I can check sales reports, product mix reports. I can literally run the entire restaurant from this one computer. This is why Aloha is our system of choice.
Make a switch you can bank on with Commonwealth Bank. Right now, open an Extreme checking account and we'll give you a cash bonus. Visit switchforcash.com today.
How to Buy brought to you by Creation Gardens, reminding you that dining out makes you happy, so let's start smiling again.
When buying root vegetables for your favorite recipe or just want a unique garnish, you want the finest ingredients. And we're here with Chef Cray from Creation Gardens to give us some tips on how to buy these produce.
Well, here we have a baby bunch carrot. We have a few colors here, yellow and red. With these, you're looking for a nice, smooth, shiny carrot. With these, you want a nice, firm root, nice crunch to it. And also, the tops can be a good sign of quality. If you have a nice green, fresh top, that's a good sign. This is what's known as a black night carrot. These are really different and kind of unique, as you can see the multicolored inside to them. You can just peel those and cook them like any other carrot. Those are really nice. And here we have just a variety of root vegetables and baby root vegetables. These are all baby bunch beets, candy striped and red. This is a baby bunch turnip, also known as a Tokyo turnip. Here we have a variety of beets and radishes. There's a candy striped beet, a gold beet. You can see the interior right here. And this is what's called a watermelon radish. This is great for garnish on a salad or as a side dish with dips. And with all of these, again, you're looking for a nice firm root. You don't want any give or sponge to them at all. Nice firm texture. With all these baby bunch vegetables, everyone loves to see the green tops on these. You can even use these in a recipe. They're great to cook it by themselves. But if you're going to hang on to these for a while, once you get them home, you might want to cut those off. They'll actually last a little longer without the tops on it. The tops continue to feed on the root, so you might want to cut those off if you're going to hang on to them.
Well, excellent. Well, thank you, Craig, for giving us some wonderful tips of how to buy these root vegetables.
I think biodynamic farming is when you scoop the poop and put it in the dirt.
Are you a gardener?
Do I look like a gardener?
It's kind of like the original farming. That's where you treat the soil and the compost and all the organisms as one large organism, or something like that.
In the garden.
And we're here with Derek Kelly from Fox Hollow Farm out here in his vegetable garden. How you doing this afternoon, Derek?
Doing good, thank you.
Well, what do you do here exactly at Fox Hollow Farms? What's your role here?
Here I'm the vegetable farmer for the market gardens and also the chef at the Fox Hollow Farm Center.
And you understand that you do some cooking classes and some educational stuff along with it?
I do. I do cooking classes throughout the winter when the gardens kind of slow down, and then we do gardening classes start up in the spring, try to get people to learn how to garden or to kind of break the fear of growing vegetables.
Well, you got a pretty good position here, because I know one thing, every chef would be jealous, that, envious to have their own garden themselves. And look at all this beautiful food you have out here. Why don't you tell me what you're growing over here?
Right here, this is the curly kale, more traditional kind of southern kale.
All right. And over here we have?
This is red Russian kale, which is just another variety of kale. This season we put a lot of emphasis on our greens, on the kales, because they are very nutritional.
Kale greens contain 33 calories per serving, containing 2 grams of protein, vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, and iron.
Now, one thing, Derek, at least back when I was growing up cooking, never used very much kale. A lot of it's just used for pretty garnish on the side of the plates. I cooked in the South for a while, learned how to do some wonderful braised greens. That's pretty much what I've learned to do with kale. Do you have some other neat little recipes or tips you'd like to share with us that you use for kale?
For kale, I like to try to keep it simple, just so people can taste the kale, taste the flavors of the kale. Really, a lot of times I will do just sauteed kale with onions and garlic, pretty simple. Either a little bit of butter or olive oil, just to cook it down and kind of take off the crispness of it. And kind of the more traditional braising, but if I'm in a hurry, I'll just kind of boil it down in salt and pepper, just really simple.
All right, and you've also talked about some bean and kale soups, a little bit of sausage, or some winter meats.
Yeah, mix it in with soup. When your soup's boiling or simmering, you throw your kale in there and just let it go until it's soft.
Yeah, another thing about growing kale, it's very hardy and it lasts through later in the season. So you get a longer harvest out of it. All right.